So I wanted to, first of all, I want to welcome you. I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited to be here, and I hope you're excited too. Um, and at first, I want to take a moment to thank for making this happen. When I approached her a few weeks ago, I wasn't sure, what she would think about it. And I was met with, I can tell you, with overwhelming enthusiasm. And she had your best interest at heart, as she always does. She was excited right out of the gate, asked me some questions that were directly related to how this was going to benefit all of you. And we went from there. So um, I don't think either of us knew what to expect on the initial interest. It's been a little overwhelming. There were a lot more people that said they wanted to come here that weren't able to come here, or haven't shown up yet. But I think correct me if I'm wrong. I had planned on just going ahead and posting the video, so anyone who isn't here would be able to check it out later. But we had a lot of support and enthusiasm, people who showed some interest. So we're very pleased about that. And I am really honored and excited to be here with you. So I have put together a series of guided meditations to help introduce or reintroduce you to whatever the case may be. Some of you have some experience, some of you don't, to mindfulness. The series is designed to walk you gradually, no matter where you're at, meet you where you're at, walk us gradually towards cultivating more awareness and better health, happiness, self compassion, and so on. Uh, so, the first thing that is really important to me is I want to take a moment to acknowledge your presence. The fact that you're here speaks volumes. You made a choice to be here, and for whatever reason that is, and whatever, it doesn't matter what the reason is. It's your personal reason. That's what's important. And I for one, am glad that you did, and I hope you are too. I believe it's I believe one of the most fundamentally important things that we are not taught is to take care of ourselves. And I also believe, and we probably all had health class, maybe in middle school or high school, and I don't. That's really about the extent of what I had. I was pretty opposite growing up. Um, but I think it's extremely important to take care of ourselves and to honor and acknowledge ourselves when we do that. And so it may sound cliche to some of you. I hope it doesn't, but I want you to make sure that you take a second to thank yourself at some level, even if it's just quietly to yourself. Thank yourself for showing up, for making the effort to be here. There's a million things you could have done that may not have been beneficial, but you chose to do this. So you should thank yourself. Next, I want to share a little bit about my story. Now, so what the plans I have for tonight, we're going to do this for right now. I think we're probably scheduled for 10 weeks. And we'll see where that goes. It may be longer. I don't know, depending on what we're getting out of it and how it works. Um, and each time we have a session, I will teach you. I will share with you more about mindfulness and how it works. There's a lot of science starting to back this up. The medical community has jumped behind this. So I won't overwhelm you with medical terminology because it's boring. But I do think it's important that we share and we understand and we get the word out of that. Now it's just not what it has been in the past. When people think of the East and yoga, and some people think it's silly, and some people think it's mystical, and there's a lot of in between. But the fact is, the science is beginning to back this up, so we can take it at its basic level, which is what I want to offer here. Take it at the basic level, and then you can mold it into your life, what is most beneficial for you, and however that looks. So each week I will share some more of that information. We'll do some more exercises that will kind of gradually work our way up. So it is an introduction. It is a beginner's. I use air quotes. It is a beginner's course, but I think I think everyone will get something out of it. But I wanted to very quickly start with a little bit about my story. I won't it's quite lengthy, and some of it, quite frankly, some of it is unbelievable. But for tonight, I'd be more than happy to share it with all of you. But for tonight, I just want to give you the abbreviated version because that's not why we're here. But I think it's important that you understand how I have come to this point to be here with you to share this with you, and it may, hopefully, some of it may correlate, and you may be able to connect that to your situation. So, just like you, I'm an NPE. We all have that in common. I made my discovery about a year ago. I found this group within literally 2 or 3 days after my discovery, which was extremely important. I just told someone this morning I discovered the group when all this was still very raw emotionally for me. I've been practicing mindfulness for about 15 years. I'll explain that in a minute. But those first couple days were absolutely I lost my mind. I lost all semblance of mindfulness, and I was just stewing in my swirling sea of negative emotions. I didn't know what to do. Um, and so I think some of you may be able to identify with that, is why I share that. Um, through in the last year, I have uncovered many lies. Um, I'm sure some of you can identify with that as well. I know that some of you can also identify that my entire life I knew something wasn't right. I just I didn't know what it was, and when it answered a lot of questions, when I did find out of things that had plagued me or bothered me throughout my lifetime. Um, so the quick rundown with my story is and this may get a little bit heavy. I will go through it quickly so it doesn't. I'm a newly discovered NPE. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. I have a narcissistic mother, an alcoholic uh, birth certificate father. They were divorced when I was at the age of 7. I became the surrogate spouse to my mother. I ended up being a teenage father and a teenage husband. I almost divorced. My wife and I almost got divorced 15 years ago, which was the darkest moment of my life. I had made a wreck of things, and I survived. After that, we were able to reconcile. I'll go through more about that in a minute. I survived brain surgery after that. My only male role model in my life was my father-in-law. Actually committed suicide 4 days after my brain surgery, and I couldn't even go to the funeral. I lost my best friend and my adopted son 6 months, almost to the day, in 2015. So I've had a lot of negative things happen to me in my life, but I've had a lot of positive things as well, which is what this is about. Um, this the MPE revelation was actually just another step in a series of steps in my life, uncovering the veil of dysfunction and deceit, that I was raised to not see it for what it was. The journey began about 15 years ago. As I said, my wife and I had made a mess of my life. I was at proverbial rock bottom. We almost divorced. I decided to pull myself up by my bootstraps and do something different, which set me on a path of personal development. What has transpired has led me the path of self discovery and ultimately self healing. And it's I'm happier in my life today than I ever dreamed I could be, which is the point. This is why I'm here. I never What I thought happiness was, what I thought it looked like because of the dysfunction when I was younger. I never dreamed my life could be what it is today. Now, it's a daily work in progress. I'm s- one of Russell Brand. I enjoy Russell Brand. He's a comedian. He's a little foul, but he is very raw. Tells it like it is. He's a recovering addict, and I saw him say in an interview, "Don't take my word for it. I'm still a maniac." And I quote that every once in a while. I'm not perfect. I'm not healed. However, I am growing and I'm healing, and I am happy. And um, that is what's important. So mindfulness has been an integral tool in my growth. It always brings me back to the center. and it can be used in many different aspects. And we're going to go into that more over the next couple weeks. Okay, so that's enough about me. Real quickly, mindfulness has been around for thousands of years, traditionally through Eastern philosophies or religions. It's only been in the West for a little over 100 years, I think. And I won't get into the history of that. It's quite fascinating. But since then, we've seen various phases of understanding, growth, and popularity. Obviously, we can look back to maybe the popular culture of the 60s and 70s, and maybe the hippies and that kind of thing. It kind of began to grow in like 80s and 90s. Yoga became popular, and even meditation itself. I know Oprah uh, has also done her part to make it popular. Deepak Chopra, I'm sure most people here are familiar with him. So um, there's definitely been an increased interest. What most people don't realize, and I touched on this earlier, is that mindfulness is increasingly being integrated into modern medicine. There's a physician named John Kabat-Zinn. Many of you may have heard of him. He began experimenting with a meditation group about 40 years ago at the University of Massachusetts, and he began taking chronically ill patients who were dealing with cancer and pain and various things, and he began guided meditation groups, and he began following these people, asking questionnaires, taking the data, and the results were remarkable. And other people began to take notice. And since then, there have been dozens and dozens of studies. They're all coming to the same conclusion: the mind is very, very powerful. It has the ability to heal the body in many, many ways. Um, and so there are several books about this, and I will be more than happy to share some of the books. And if anyone else has any books that they also recommend, please share with the group. You know, this is something that um, this is a rabbit hole that once you go down, this should it should be a rabbit hole that you go down your whole life, and I hope it is for you, because it is life changing. So, but they discovered that our mind may be the most powerful healing mechanism of anything that we know, and that is that is a powerful and amazing statement if you really break that down. The study after study after study, has shown the same results. It's remarkable and consistent, and it's fascinating. So that's why we're here. Pain management. They've even seen reversing chronic diseases. They've seen physiological changes in the brain, and in the brain, the structure of the brain, various structures of the brain, and neural pathways, and it's phenomenal. So now, with that said, I want to make it clear: I am not a doctor. I don't even play one on Facebook. It's not me. I've been in the medical field for a long time. It helps me understand what's going on, but I am not a doctor. I am not making snake oil claims. If your loved one has any serious medical issues, I am in no way, shape, or form recommending you abandon the idea of seeking professional medical advice or treatment. It's imperative that we understand that. This is something to enhance your life and could help in those situations, but you definitely should obviously see a doctor if that's the case. So, but I am saying that you have a powerful weapon at your disposal to aid in your own self healing and well being. And we all do, and most of us don't know how to use it. That's why we put this group together. So, the last disclaimer I want to make is that it's a religious disclaimer, that this presentation is not designed with a religious context. What I want to present to you is a shell based on scientific research. I've done that because I'm very passionate about supporting an individual's personal spiritual journey. I'm not here to convince you of what I believe, or what you should believe, or vice versa. But with that said, how you interpret this and you practice this is completely up to you. So though it's not, I don't have a religious intent here. It's not meant to be religious. It can be religious for you if you so choose. Uh, I want you to do that. I want you to make it your own journey. I've chosen my words very carefully when we do this, so you do make this your own and you do apply it to your life. And so it has more meaning. I'm very big on not telling people what to do and letting them discover things on their own. So um, it doesn't matter. However you apply this, the benefits will be the same. This is your journey, and I want to encourage you to make it work for you. Okay. So all you really need to have here is a willingness and faith, and obviously you have both, or you wouldn't be here. So, um, okay, let's get going. I would like to now. So we decided to do this on a live video feed, and I got to thinking about it, and I hope that I don't distract you because I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. I'm going to walk you through a guided meditation, and I didn't think about a lot of times these are done in audio or you're done in a group where people can see you close your eyes and that kind of thing. Now you don't have to, and I hope that me sitting up here doesn't distract you. If it does, then next time I may exit stage left and walk out of the picture. So give me feedback on that. Let me know as we go through all this. So um, all right. So if you are ready, what I want you to do is get comfortable. This is going to be the most important things. Oftentimes, in my opinion, in meditation, too much focus is placed on the sitting position while meditating, and though it's important, um, it's not so important that it causes discomfort. Discomfort causes distraction. So I want you to get comfortable. And as you progress through this, the next couple of weeks with me, or if you do it on your own, if you want to start working on your positioning and how you sit and investigating that, and do it a little bit at a time, that's completely up to you. But for right now, all I want you to do is just to get comfortable. Okay. We'll cultivate our meditation skills first, and then we'll work on our position. Okay. Now, with that said, I want you to be mindful of your posture. If you can, make sure you try to make your back straight, that kind of thing, because it is important. So, I'd like you to please get comfortable. And now you may lie down on your back if you wish. You may recline in a chair. If you are not reclining, but you're rather sitting in a chair, uh, if you're sitting upright, probably best to try to put your feet flat on the floor. Try to sit up straight, but again, make sure you're comfortable so you can put a pillow behind you, get a little bit of supportive position. If you're sitting on the floor, you can sit in a half lotus or a full lotus position, or just simply with your legs crossed. A lot of people find it easier. I know I do. I'm not very bendy, so um, when I'm sitting on the floor, I cross my legs and I sit on a cushion or a folded blanket. Kind of elevates my hips and takes the pressure off with that. So feel free to do that. Again, just get in a comfortable position and get settled in. Okay. All right. So I would like to ask you at this time to close your eyes, and I'd like you to take a deep breath in. Inhale through your nose, and then when you exhale, just exhale through your mouth. Remember to keep your eyes closed, and do that again. Inhale through your nostrils. Make sure it's a deep breath. Exhale through your mouth, and let's do that a couple more times. Just inhale and exhale. Okay, good. This time, I want you, when you take your inhale, I want you to take in a big, deep, full breath all the way in. When you can't take anymore, I want you to blow it out and make as much noise as you like. I mean, let it out, let it rip. Just give it all you got. Good. And then inhale and exhale again. Continue normal breathing. Um, and while you're beginning to breathe normally, I want you to turn inward very quickly, and I want you to observe how you feel after those first few breaths and your loud exhale, your sigh of relief. Take a moment to take some inventory with that as you breathe. Now, this is important because this is the essence of mindfulness. And this is what we're doing here. It's very simple. We use our breathing as a tool to initiate a physical response, a relaxation. And as well, we want to increase our internal awareness. And as we progress through the weeks, we will explore this in greater depth. Okay. Um, but while we're on the path to relaxation, let's continue. I want you to take another deep breath in, but this time I want you to do it slowly through your nose, all the way in, and then slowly with control, I want you to exhale out through your mouth. And I'd like you to do this a few more times, please. Now, as you continue to breathe, I want you to understand that right now you are in a safe space, and this is important because we will talk a lot about this in the coming weeks. But oftentimes, many people probably say, well, of course I'm in a safe space. I'm at home or whatever. But it's important that we acknowledge this because many times through our thoughts with anxiety and our anger and our worry, we mentally take ourselves to an unsafe place. And it's important that we are aware of reality. And the reality is that you are sitting in a safe space. You are comfortable. You are among friends here who you share a unique bond with. And and I want you to understand that there is nothing for you to judge here. Nothing. Everything outside of what we are doing right here can wait. Right, you are right here, right now. This is about you. It is about your health. It is about your happiness. It is about your well-being. There is nothing to do. Nothing needs to be done. Nothing needs to be said. There are no problems that need to be solved. Right now, it is just you and your breath. Period. Please keep that in mind as we begin to go. And so, as you continue breathing, if you begin thinking about tasks and chores, you begin worrying about work or any other problems in your life or anything else distracting, if you hear a noise, anything distracting, I want you to do something different than you may normally do. I want you to take a moment and acknowledge to yourself what you've just witnessed, whether it's a thought or it's a sound, whether it's a cramp or whatever. I want you to witness it. I want you to actually maybe say to yourself, oh, that was a sound in the kitchen, or oh, I'm thinking about my to do list tomorrow, or oh, I'm thinking about this. Just acknowledge it. Now, don't judge it. This is important. It is neither good nor bad. It's not really happening. Well, the sound may be happening, and if you have a mountain lion who's crawled in your kitchen window, then it's probably an exception to this rule. But for the most part, it's not real. Don't judge it as good or bad. Just witness it. Just acknowledge that you witnessed it. And then don't be harsh or scold yourself for your thought wandering. That's what our minds do. I simply want you to acknowledge it and return back to your breathing. Deep inhale in, deep exhale out through your mouth. Okay. As you continue to breathe, I want you to begin to turn your awareness inward again. This time, as you turn your awareness in, I want you to step back mentally from yourself. And I want you to take inventory on how you're feeling right now. This could be anything. I am not I am not going to tell you what you're supposed to feel. I'm not going to tell you what you need to find. I want you to just take inventory. It could be anything. It could be physical sensations in your body. What physical sensations are there? Um, are there any emotions? Um, Oftentimes when we do this, we begin to discover emotions maybe we didn't know we had. Um, Stress or anxiety or happiness or whatever it may be, um, and we don't really take the time to stop and acknowledge it. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to discover these sensations. Please be mindful of your breath. Please continue breathing. If you hold your breath, I'm not there to help you begin breathing again. So make sure that you continue breathing. And as you discover these sensations and emotions, again, simply observe them. Even if they're negative, it's stress, anger, anxiety. Don't judge them. Just observe them. Just simply observe as if you were watching it unfold from afar. If you were watching a TV show or watching someone else go through it. And if we observe without preconceived judgment, we allow our minds to be open to explore, and this leads to new discoveries and better understanding about ourselves. So instead of shutting it down and running away from especially negative emotions, instead of running away from it, we begin to learn what's really causing it, the underneath causes, and what kind of things it's causing in the body, what kind of physical reactions and other emotions, and how that leads to other things. And once we learn more about ourselves and discover those, we're able to begin making adjustments and towards healthier emotions and healthier reactions. So simply stay in this state, continue breathing, continue observing. When your thoughts wander, simply bring them back. So do that. I'll be quiet for a few minutes and stay in this moment if you would. Okay. Now I want you to slowly start to bring your attention back to where you are, but don't open your eyes just yet. Maybe begin wiggling your fingers and wiggling your toes, then slowly progress to subtle movements of your hands and your feet. Um, and then slowly bring your body completely back to life. If you are asleep, and then just keep sleeping. We won't wake you, and we'll just all talk to you tomorrow. Um, but if you're awake and you begin to fully come back to where you are, take one more big last deep breath, and give yourself another big sigh of relief. I hope that felt good for you. I hope it gave you a new meaning of the sigh of relief. I know several years ago when I began doing this, and someone really explained it, just a term I'd use, sigh of relief, my whole life, and I didn't really understand how it was associated with the breath and the stress response, which we'll get in more into the stress response later. So the last thing I want to say to you is I want to challenge you to take particular attention to how you feel mentally and physically right now. And I want you to try to carry that with you for the rest of the evening and perhaps even to tomorrow. Um, this is really the goal of the mindfulness training. This is where we're headed. This is what we want. Um, but the goal eventually is not to just meditate and feel better until it wears off and then you need to meditate again. Though there's certainly nothing wrong with that. That's certainly a great strategy, and I highly recommend it. The long-term goal with the practice is to, when you meditate and practice mindfulness and we cultivate these positive emotions, that we are able to carry that with us throughout the day. And eventually the goal will be to, you won't really need to sit in meditation because you're able to be mindful and aware throughout the day. I haven't gotten there yet. I'm close, but I'm a work in progress, as I told you. So, but that's ultimately where we're headed. We won't get there in 10 weeks. Some of you might, but most of us won't. That's okay. That's okay. So, um, but this is really the point. We're learning the skills to help us learn to heal, and then we want to integrate them, into our daily lives. So, again, I want to thank you so much for joining. I'm so excited about what we're doing here. Please thank for allowing this to happen. I think this is going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope all of you have a wonderful night. I'm going to leave this up. So it'll be back here if you want to come back and do it again. If you want to recommend somebody didn't get in, whatever. So if someone says they missed it, please share. I think as of right now, we're planning on doing this every Tuesday at the same time. Don't quote me on that, but that is the tentative plan. I need to make sure verify that with Catherine, and I think my schedule's clear. So same time next week, and then for the next 10 weeks. So I hope you have a wonderful night, and I really look forward to seeing all of you again next week. So have a good night.